So I went with a group of almost all women, all almost yoga teachers, and we visited the organizations that we raised the money for, which that year was the biggest fundraising they'd ever had, and it was $1 million collectively. It was amazing. So I went there and I visited 3 rescue homes, and I was just in awe. I was in awe of the resiliency. I was in awe of, these stories that none of us could ever imagine surviving and living through, and yet these girls still wanted human interaction. They still wanted touch. They still wanted love. And they had been through things I couldn't even imagine surviving and going through. And I saw hope. I was the weird one in the group. We talked this every night, and a lot of people were feeling anger and sadness and resentment and frustration. And I kept seeing hope. And I really went there wanting to continue with the work and knowing that I wanted to continue to fundraise, because this organization is great at not just dumping money and running, but helping set up sustainable, ongoing things for the future. I never was the person to ask for money. I'd never fundraised before, really. I'd never sold things before. That was just not my thing. And yet, for years, I'm out there selling their jewelry. I keep doing all this fundraising because I not only believe it, but I see the benefits that it's had. And, at one point, I had an opportunity to, get a job that I could have just donated $20,000 a year to the cause and had that money there. But I didn't really want to do that because I felt like the education was important. The education of letting people know that this is still happening, that this is real, that this is not just a story, that it's a lot of girls. It's a lot of girls. And my first trip, when I asked some of the girls at one of the rescue homes what they wanted me to do, what could I do when I went home? They didn't go home and say, oh, go raise money. That's not their part of the thing. They said, tell our story. And I was just like, oh my God. They wanted to make sure people knew what was happening and what was happening to them, and that this was happening and that it wasn't okay. And so I've continued on with, thank you so much for an opportunity like this to just share some of what's happening, and that it is real, and that these are real lives, and that there is hope, and that we can make a difference.